11.
It's a bit more complex, obviously, than it has been, and I think the short turnaround makes it a little bit more difficult. So, the Brazilians probably trained for maybe 2 days last week, the Australians for maybe 3 days. So it's still going to be a little bit of time before everybody's in and we've got the rhythm going. And then particularly when you're having a game 4 days after the first game with everybody back, again it just makes it a wee bit more difficult to get in there, get working on things and trying to work out kind of what the best team is. Well, obviously Sam Kerr's a major problem with her pace and ability to run in behind and just a knack of scoring goals. But they've improved again quite significantly as a team. They've brought in a couple of players. They've kept stability. I think the great thing that Chicago has done is really kept a very stable squad over the past 3 or 4 years, and they're a group of players that are used to playing together. So they're a fairly, like the other teams that end up in the top 4, they're a fairly formidable side. It's always urgent. I mean, there's no extra talk of urgency. It's approaching every game in the same way to try and win it. So, if we had won 4 out of the first 5 games, we wouldn't be approaching this game any differently. Obviously, we want to keep in touch with teams, and it's important to pick up points whatever stage of the season it is. But we always felt the start of the season was going to be a little bit difficult for us in the terms of just the time together with the squad, getting the numbers back and getting the full squad working. And I still think we're probably a few weeks away from being the sort of cohesive unit that we want to be. Yeah, definitely. And I think what it does is it acts as a motivation for the opposition in many ways, because if you're playing against those 3 players, you need to be at your very, very best, and so the teams that we play against are really keyed up to play against like Marta and Alex and Sid, and that makes their life in this league much more difficult than it does for other players. And I think you're starting to see that now with other players who have been key goal scorers in the league, and you start to see it with Sam Kerr, etc. So, and teams as well are better organised, they're more proficient, and so I think the life for a striker continues to get more difficult. Well, Huerta's always been one of the best players in the league, to be honest, since I've come into it. She's one of those players that can play anywhere, and she's just a really, really good football player. Whether she's playing up front or in midfield or even sometimes at the back. Mautz is just a non-stop worker, and she's just getting rewards for that work rate. She gets in the box, she's always on the move, always on the going, and she's now started to get into a little run of form of scoring goals, and that then breeds more confidence. And once you get on that kind of run, then goals come easier for you. And I think if we look at our team at the moment, one thing that we're not doing is scoring goals, whereas we were pretty proficient at that last year. So what we need to do is turn that around in our strikers to get some goals and get some confidence, and I think that's what Chicago has got at the moment. High pressure team, a team that's very focused on the task, a team that's physically very strong, and with a mix now of talented players. So as I say, they've continued to build a squad, and they've always had what I'd call very much a blue collar team and been successful with that. They've now still got that element, but they've now added some quality players to it. That'll happen, of course. I mean, what you've got to remember is that we're bringing in players. Things don't happen. I know people want immediacy these days in every aspect of life, and it doesn't happen. We were extremely fortunate last year in that we brought in 5 players. And all those players came into the team and fitted in virtually straight away, and it all went smoothly. We brought in some more new players this year, and then we've had disruptions with players being away. So we haven't quite got that fluency back yet. And as I say, that takes time. It takes time for players to get to know each other, to read each other's play, to be on the same page with each other. And that's where the importance of training day in and day out with each other becomes a critical factor when you're getting your team ready for the weekend. So the more that we get together, the more we work in training, the more we play together, then you'll start to see that cohesion that you're talking about. Well, I think, again, she's only played 1 game, so it's hard to go into a lot of depth. I mean, what we've got is what we expected. a player that's come back into the squad that played very well for us last year. What she does at the back is give us a composure, a calmness, a bit more quality in possession, and now obviously she's played 6 games over the last 3 weeks, so she's come in ready to play and at a good level of match fitness.